Hey there, beautiful souls. It's Lisa Nickel, host of the Sacred and Rooted podcast. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is brought to you from my minivan. Not sure if you can tell the difference or not. I think actually the iPhones are quite good at recording. But yeah, if you hear anything too weird, it's because I'm in the van in a conservation area, so it's pretty quiet, but there's some birds and stuff that are letting me know they're here. Anyways, today's episode is also brought to you by the Wellspring Goddess Collective. It's a gorgeous container of like-minded women that is created to make your transformation possible, by exposing you to meditations, cyclical living, and just like-minded women, so that you can sort of be supported, cheered on, dip yourself in all the reminders you can get per month to just really remember who you are, what you're here to do, who you're here to be, and all the other perks and benefits that come from experiencing that. For June, the month of June, the Wellspring Collective is on for $1. There's a trial on. And then next month it goes back to its regular price. So if you want to check it out, it's only $1 for the first 30 days, and then we'll go back to its regular price. But you get instant access to like a bazillion meditations on any topic you could probably imagine. And you'll obviously get to experience the month of June, all the meditations and the new moon intention setting ceremony and that kind of thing. So just go to lisanickle.ca/trial, TRIAL, and the link will be in the show notes as well. All right, so this episode is all about cultivating joy as a spiritual practice. I'm calling you out if you tend towards taking life too seriously. Like myself, for sure my hand is up. I'm definitely a work in progress here. And if you generally feel like, if you had too much fun, who the heck's going to take care of all the shit that has to get done? Like, if that's kind of what's your mindset, what your voice in your head would say to you, then this episode is for you. And obviously anybody can listen to it. So if you love joy in your life and you just want to dip yourself in some more and get some brainstorming ideas, here you go. But yeah, so either way, this episode is dedicated to you with all my love. So as many, I guess, as you may or may not know, if you've been hanging out in my area of the world for any length of time, I have 3 kids, 2 twin girls who are 16, and like literally where has the time gone? Anyway, and a son who's just about 13. And to any moms who are in the little baby toddler stage, hang in there. Middle childhood is so sweet, and the teenagers are pretty awesome too, actually. But I was never a super baby person, so the teenagers I like a little more, just because I like a good debate and I like the ability for them to communicate in my language instead of guessing what they're saying in cries. Anyways, so yeah, regardless, it's like the fastest and the slowest experience I've ever had. So it is a weird kind of time combination. It feels like yesterday that I was holding a baby, trying to get them to sleep again in the middle of the night after a feed or because they were teething. And now they're into their own interests and dreams and friends. And I'd love to have more time with them at home. But anyway, I'm also glad that they're growing into independent, confident people. So there's a certain pride in that as well. Anyways, that's completely off topic. But my point with that to start with was, let me paint a picture of like, some joy. So it's a summer's day. The barbecue's cooking. Probably hot dogs, because that's the kids' fave. At least it was all their faves when they were little, because they were like special occasion things for some reason. Well, because you probably wouldn't want to have hot dogs every week. That'd be nuts. Anyways, so it's summer. It's a beautiful sunny day. The barbecue is cooking up some hot dogs. The neighbors are over with their kids, and the kiddie pool is being filled up. We are even getting a little extra crazy and putting the little plastic slide that we had in the kiddie pool so the kids can slide into the pool, which is like, wow, that's really VIP. So they're all super excited and having a hoot, kind of testing the water. Like, they'll jump in, it's too cold, they'll jump back out, they'll laugh, they'll run around, and they'll do it all again until it seems like somehow the water miraculously gets warm enough that it's not a problem, or they get used to it, I guess. They're drinking juice boxes, there's watermelon, and smiles are everywhere you look. And best of all, that little kid laughter, the pure pleasure laughter, pure joy, carefree, just like your soul is laughing, basically. It's direct channel out. And it totally like makes my heart sing, even not just my mom heart, but like in general my heart, because now I still love, seeing little kids that are just like in their joy, like total bliss. And the giggling and the laughter is just like, it is divine. Anyway, so there's one kind of picture of just like that, just carefree, joy-filled time. And that also reminds me of summer days in my own childhood where my sisters and I and a neighborhood friend or two or whoever was around, we'd eat freezies and Kool-Aid, drink Kool-Aid, and run through the sprinkler or the slip and slide, or set up both. And the barbecue would be going with hamburgers for dinner. Maybe there'd even be chips if we really were lucky. And, the parents would be chatting on the deck or somewhere in the house and relaxing. And we would just be ripping around. It'd be a nice hot day, so you're not too cold, not too hot. It's just perfect with the sprinkler, and the slip and slide cools you down. Freezies and Kool-Aid for sure too help. But anyway, it's just one of those days where you're this is exactly the best thing ever. And you can hear again the laughter, the pleasure, just the joy of being in that experience and being alive is so awesome. And the freedom and expansion, and almost okay, this is what I was here for. If this is the only day that I live, any further, it's it's good, it's the best. And so those were the summer days that were literally the best ones. We had that kind of situation on repeat quite frequently through the summer, so it was fun. And they are definitely some of the fondest days of my childhood. And so as a mom, the first story that I told, it's a double pleasure experience, because for my kids, they were happy as clams, and I was also remembering my own experience of summer fun days, as well as experiencing pleasure that they were happy and just joyful, because of course you want your kids to be happy and joyful. And I'm not exactly sure what changed, where or when, but that pure pleasure feeling of the exhilaration, joyful laughter, and fun with friends, it isn't something that I have a lot these days. And I remember, another time, it was a year or two after my divorce, which was about like, I don't know, 10 years or almost more than 10 years ago now. Anyway, it was like, I don't know, say 8 years ago. Just for fun. Don't quote me though. So a couple years after my divorce, one of my sisters had come to visit, and the kids had all their baths. It was after dinner. They had all their baths. They were clean. They got their jammies on, and we were getting ready to read a bit together before bed. So we were all sitting, like, they were kind of laying out in front of the bookshelf that we had in the hall, and picking a book and, like, looking around at things in books. And we used to do this, this was like our nightly routine. So that was no different. But my sister, I think it was her that must have brought it up, because it wouldn't have probably been too many more. I don't know. We have done this every night. So it was kind of like a routine. The routine was not telling jokes and laughing our butts off. But that's what happened. So it must have been my sister started thinking about it, or maybe somebody found a joke book and we started telling jokes. But anyways, regardless of how it started, we did start telling jokes together. And so there was a few joke books that we had. So I think the kids started, like, trying to find them. And my sister and I, we used to do this all the time when we were little, or not all the time, but, like, especially if my grandfather was over, he would always come over with jokes. I don't know, I'm assuming he tried to find new jokes every time he came over, because he'd always come over with a couple different, like, new jokes. And then he was super thrilled when nobody could actually answer them, and he, got to tell the right answer to the riddle, and then everyone, of course, would, like, laugh, and he'd laugh, and then it was kind of a nice little tradition. So, so my sister starts telling jokes, the kids start telling jokes, then we start looking on, the iPad for more jokes, we start looking on my phone for more jokes, and we're, like, looking all over the internet. And then my sister and I were trying to remember jokes from, like, our childhood that we could tell the kids and see if they knew. And I don't think we were super good at remembering what any of them were, but it was, at some point, we were laughing so much that I got into that laugh. When you're laughing so hard, you're basically crying, you're just about to pee yourself or something, because you can't actually stop, it doesn't seem, for any, no matter how hard you try, you're just, like, crying laughing, because it's just too funny. I think it also has to do with how much sleep I get. And if I'm, like, a little bit tired, it's easier to get into that, like, just, it feels like you're gonna laugh forever, and you can't possibly, like, you couldn't possibly stop if you tried. Anyways, I noticed that, we were laughing so much, but at one point when I was laughing, like, so hard that I couldn't stop, the kids noticed, and they were, like, kind of noticing the whole scene for almost, like, with new eyes, where they were thinking, like, that they hadn't actually seen this happen before. And they were laughing, but they were actually watching their faces. It looked like they were watching something, like, completely new to them, because they had never seen me be so silly or laughing until, like, I basically peed myself almost. And so sad to say, like, I realized as I was watching their faces and sort of gauging the scene that they probably had never seen me laugh this hard in maybe their entire lives. Like, they might never have seen it. And so then I was thinking, wow, that's too bad. So it's got me wondering, I've never been, like, the silly one or whatever. Their dad for sure has a better silly bone than I do, or, like, a silly streak. And then my sisters, I have other sisters that are for sure sillier than I am. Like, I've never had that title, the silly one, but that doesn't mean that you can't be in your joy either. Silly is sort of just one way of expressing that, right? So, but I definitely, after that, that really fun visit with my sister, I began to really intentionally explore joy further, because I felt like after my divorce, it's pretty heavy stuff, and it's like a long process of like unraveling yourself and putting yourself back together in a different way, in a way that hopefully is improved in general. And so I really wanted to like show my kids, like, of course, like I have a fun streak, I have a light streak, I have just a more like playful streak, let's say, than maybe silly. And if I'm sitting there watching them, and like when they're in their joy, I'm like for sure in mine, because my heart is just like bursting with love and like joy for their joy. And so, wouldn't it be a gift for them even to be able to see me in my joy more than once every, I don't know how old they would have been 8 years ago, I guess like 8 or something. The girls would have been 8, Ben would have been 5. So like not even, once every 5 years, but maybe more regularly than that even. That would be really crazy. So, because I feel like, being your full self means like a shining star kind of symbol than like a wallflower. Even if you don't, some people are not going to be like the center of attention. That is not what I mean, but I just mean like to be like proud and like stand tall and like totally own your vibe, whatever it is. And so that to me radiates an energy like a shining star, more than a wallflower, which is sort of like a closed, darker energy, or like denser energy, not darker, but just less vibrant, less magnetic, say. So ever since then, it's been a work in progress. And, I have to say, I'm still overcoming a lot of resistance around it. But I'm way more comfortable with life being more joyful, even enjoyable, easier, more full of pleasure, all the good stuff. Because, like, truth be told, there's been phases of my life that were a hustle for sure, which can make life feel hard, and it can be for years on end. And so you get into like a rut, and not intentionally, but it just kind of like you just adapt into something that seems more serious and more, more serious in general. And so then you drop, or you like put away the joy and the outward expression of it. It's like, okay, later, like when everything's going really well, when, when everyone's healthy, when, I have no bills to pay, or like no debt or whatever, like once I move into a bigger place, once my shitty boss retires, whatever it is, like then my joy can come out and be fully expressed and, radiate. And I think that's just not the right idea. I think we need to bring our joy to the forefront in no matter what the situation is, and then that will radiate and magnetize, more opportunities, more fun, it'll make even the harder times more enjoyable, like more bearable, more, you can have hard times and you can also hold joy through that. And I would argue that actually holding joy through that is imperative to making it through the hard times, if you don't want to be, totally burned out, totally fried, totally feeling like you just got all your energy sucked out of you and now you're not sure how to get it back. So those examples, I just wanted to kind of hopefully paint a picture for you about, what I would consider some of my top, like, things that I look back on, and it's like the deepest sense of joy. And then whether yours are similar or you have other ones, hopefully that sort of starts your brainstorming, starts jogging your memory so that then you can see and assess for yourself how you're doing with your joy and whether or not sometimes you're taking life too seriously, and joy would be fun to add in, and just like decide to do it and start adding it in and see what happens. Like, and it might be interesting at first because people aren't expecting you to be whichever way, because maybe you've been serious for a long time, but I think people really respond to joy. Like, it's magnetic, so it's not going to be a big problem. You might find that they actually compliment you very well in your joy, and then you find even more joy because then they are, bringing their joy out to kind of play with your joy, kind of thing. So, I just want you to remind you, I guess, that I'm wholeheartedly with you when it comes to like a journey of just like, where can I add more joy in my life? And I think when I say that, I actually mean not like a list where you're going to say like, let's think of things to do that are joyful, and like almost like different ideas on like places to go see in the summer or something, which you could totally do too. But I'm talking about more of the like day-to-day, just like random days. And which to me is almost not so much, looking and finding joy. It's almost like taking the time for joy. So if you're anything like me, when I take the time to like savor the moments, or take the time to stop, cleaning up or getting on to the next thing on my never-ending to-do list, I find joy is just right there, like already in the building kind of thing, just like waiting for like some extra space or something to completely show itself. And so it could be something where there's just like a little extra space at the end of dinner, and your kids are like, they start telling a funny story and everyone's laughing, and you just share moments like that, which are like so important for like the day-to-day feeling of fun and like connection, that if we're all rushing off to different things, like it's hard to, those are special moments when you're, all the kids start doing different things and everybody's all over the place after school. And so, yeah, and same even with, if you're just with one of your kids or with a friend or with anybody, like instead of, racing to, dinner with a friend and then like having dinner, but not really leaving extra time for dinner because want to get home and like watch your favorite show or something like that, which I don't think actually, now that I say that, needs to happen anymore, right? Because there's like, you can just watch whatever show whenever you freaking want now. That was like so in high school. But anyways, you want to race home to do whatever, I don't even know, but you have some kind of schedule in your mind where, you don't have time to like stay longer for dinner and just like really shoot the shit and get into like other topics other than like the basic updates. And so just leave yourself some extra time. And even if your friend needs to leave because, she's got something on her plate, you've opened the door for more joy, because you don't need to rush out. You don't need to, you're not overthinking something that is going to happen in the future. You're just there for the evening, and then when you're done and you go home. But you aren't rushing conversation. You aren't trying to like, I guess like force the conversation. You're just letting things be as they are, and then really being receptive to like whatever little funny things happen, whatever way the conversation wants to go, it can just go, and naturally it just seems richer and seems like there's more connection and more depth to it than if you're just like, okay, I got an hour for dinner, I gotta get the updates and then I'll see you next month or something like that. And so there's joy in that. And those are like, I don't know, they're like day-to-day basic things, but it's literally what makes your life. Like, there's definitely peak moments and like, really big memories or vacations, and those are sort of like, you keep those in mind as like extra fun. But I mean, your life is made up much more frequently of just regular days, and so how you can fit in more joy into your day-to-day living is like the key to happiness, I would say, or at least one really big key. And because basically the bottom line, when we are in our joy, we're definitely aligned with our soul. Like, joy is your soul out in the open, totally exposed, like not covered by the layers of conditioning and socializing and to-do lists. Like, that's why people who are joyful are so beautiful. Like, no matter what they physically look like and whatever you think your physical like idea of beauty is, like, you can't take your eyes off them, and you're like attracted to them. Literally, your energy is attracted to their energy, because your soul resonates with the vibration of joy, like with seeing a soul channeled so clearly. And that is what I think we are when we are in our joy, right? It's like your soul is just like having a freaking ball. It's having the time of its life. So I wish you a joy-filled day, and I invite you to follow your bliss at every opportunity. And, the dishes can get done another day, and we all know that laundry will always be there later. So, like, don't forget about that stuff. Forget about that stuff. And just, like, have fun, follow your joy, and remember that it is a spiritual practice, and maybe that makes it more fun for you, or you're more committed to it if you think of it that way as well. Anyway, I hope you have a joy-filled day. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Take care.